Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lobo. The channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you dig that video intro, you guys know what to do. Like and sub. Let's grow the channel and all help each other out. For those of you who are visual effects artists, this is nothing new to you. I know you can do a far better job, but if you can steal in a few tricks and trades from me, totally dope. Okay, this scene was inspired to me by this one guy that I saw. He was utilizing Megascan library from Quixel, and he created this really cool, super film realistic scene in Unreal Engine. And I was like, wow, I wonder if I could create something also pretty cool, but utilizing After Effects and Element 3D. Of course, if we did everything in Unreal Engine or Unity, we would come up with really cool realistic effects. But the challenge here was, okay, let's use After Effects and Element 3D, and if we can do it. And so this whole entire scene has a lot of LODs, OBJs from the Megascan library. But what I have for you guys are things that I created in Blender. Okay, so there's a folder for you guys to download. Download that folder. You'll find the assets you need to follow along the tutorial, right? And I'm gonna go pretty fast with the tutorial, but also show how to bring things in properly to make it happen as well. That being said, let's get started, guys. I'm going to pause this really quick, minimize this, and this scene to me looks pretty cool right here. Everything you see here is all 3D. Okay, all these are 3D OBJs. The movement of the grass looks really good. I mean, is it reaching a realistic look of wind? Not really, but still it's moving in a way where you're like, oh, wind is blowing through it. And it was all done in Element 3D. So cool to have that ability to do that in Element 3D. So much kudos right there for the Videocopilot team. Of course, as usual, let's get started. So I already have a folder here for me, but you guys should totally create one for you. If you don't know how to do that, just click here and then go to composition, start a new composition. I'm not gonna name anything because I'm gonna move straight to it. 4K for me, 1080p, but make sure you guys is at 24 frames. That's film style. Just click OK. Once you're here, go down to layer, new, solid, and again, I'm not gonna name it. 4K for me, 1080p for you. Go down to effect, Videocopilot element. Once you're here, click scene setup, and from here you just import all of your OBJs. And so I created a folder for you guys simply called YouTube tutorial 39 folder. Click here, you'll find all these things. All these things I created in Blender, okay, because I can't give you guys the assets from the Megascan library. I thought I could recreate something for you guys and just use online textures to make sure that you guys could follow along. Okay, if you guys want some really high quality LODs from Quixel, guys, Megascan is the way to go. All right, it's where I think the future is right there for video game and film. You have a company who's taking the time to do all of this for you. You pay a monthly fee and you get all these high quality LODs. Awesome. Okay, that being said, just bring everything in. And when you bring everything in, you just click this, double click on that, and then you'll bring that OBJ file into Element 3D. Okay, I'm not gonna go through that detail. If you guys want to know more about that, just look through all of my previous tutorials. I usually go into pretty great detail about it. But what I'm gonna do instead is delete this. There we go. And I want to go to the one that I already created. So I'm going to go to this scene right here, and these are all of your OBJs. Okay, so when we click here, this is all the OBJs. Now the one thing about the grass is the grass actually came from Videocopilot starter pack, and you just click on grass. Okay, I thought I would just use that instead of getting a free OBJ on any 3D websites. It'd be easier that way. But everything else here, you know, was created straight from Blender 2.8. It's free. It's an awesome piece of 3D modeling software, and I'm glad that the creators made it free for everybody to use, and it's getting so powerful that you can do a lot with it. And I'm just a beginner at Blender, but for those of you who are experts, wow, awesome for you guys. Okay, but that being said, this is what it looks like. All right, so if we focus on the bridge, that's how the bridge looks like when it's, you know what, I'm just gonna click on bridge and boop, there it is right there. So if you want to focus down to something, just click on it and then just click this button right here. And so this is the bridge right here, super easy, super simple. All right, and then let's go to the base. Here's the base, there it is right here. And all of this again was created in Blender. All right, you guys can use it, have fun, enjoy. The ship, let's go here. Here's the ship. All right, there it is right here. Okay, and the rock, there it is. And let's go down to cliff. Here's the cliff, there it is right here, all created in Blender. Bridge, already that. Here's the mountain, there it is right there. Okay, now the one thing that I didn't do is unwrap the meshes, and because I didn't unwrap the meshes, when you put the textures on these meshes, you kind of have to cheat it. So an example would be, let's go to the high cliff. If I click on my diffuse mesh, as you guys can see here, I repeated that mesh 5 times horizontally, so it would make the texture sharper. But by doing it this way, you're not really putting a texture properly on the mesh, but still it looks pretty good because the scene is moving so fast. No one's gonna go frame by frame and pointing out your imperfections. They're just gonna look at the scene to go, oh wow, that looks pretty cool, and that's pretty much all they want to see. And so as long as you're not doing anything high on top and it looks like this and you can see the lines, then it's fine. Something I wish that Element 3D could do is have the ability to repeat it, but then instead of doing an offset, have the ability to do mix. So when you repeat it, everything is mixed all over the places, and so it doesn't look too symmetrical like this. That would be pretty cool. But that being said, guys, Element 3D is it's pretty awesome. All right, pretty awesome. Okay, once you have all of this and you've textured it properly and you've repeated the texture, cheating all that, cheating the texturing, then it should look just something like this. And once you have this, the goal is to make all of this look like this right here. Okay, oh, there it is. So the goal is to simply grab all of this and turn it into this. All right, so you guys can pause it right now and simply try to duplicate what I did here. Okay, all right, assuming that you guys paused there and you took the time to duplicate everything, it should look just something like this, right? So when it looks like this, then you know that you have your scene and your set and you're ready to go. Now we're gonna bring this into After Effects and do some composition in After Effects and see what we can create with that. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, what happened to the grass? The grass is right here. There it is. And I put the grass right here because eventually it's gonna go right here. All right, so what you actually want the grass to be is right at the center, because when we do our movement of the grass, it needs to be in the center so that it's moving properly. So again, have all of this turn into this right now. That's the first step. Okay, so once you have that, then we'll be able to move to the second step. Awesome work, guys. You are here. You created what you wanted to create in Element 3D. Now it's time to take it back to After Effects for some compositing. Okay, once you are here, this is the place where your vision comes to reality, where we're gonna set all the cameras to recreate that scene, where the color grading will happen too, where if there's anything that needs to be moving in the scene, it's gonna happen here. So what you need to do is you need to create a camera just like that and choose whatever you want, and from here just click OK. But I already have mine. Here's my master camera, and your master camera will usually look just like this. When you have a master camera, it doesn't do anything. Click here and then you can just move using your mouse to see how your whole entire scene looks like. And as you guys can see, you know, there's huge lags. It's on full, even if I've put it in half, it's still lagging. Okay, again, only because these 3D meshes are pretty big in size, and the more we multiply them, the heavier the scene becomes. And you know, again, After Effects is a compositing software, so it can't handle that kind of stress. But once you are here, even if it's lagging, you don't care. Guess what? You're still gonna create your scene, right? That's all that matters. Once you have your master camera, it's always good to just have it, and we're just gonna recreate the scene that I created. And I already have all of my cameras set, and so I'm going to click on them right here, right now. And this is our first scene right here when we're zooming into the grass. Now you might be asking yourself, hey, how did you put that there? Now, the reason why I didn't put it there to begin with is when I was trying to have the grass move with the flow of the wind, it wasn't doing it properly, because the grass, if we go back to our scene here, the grass, and I'm gonna click right here, needs to be in the center of your scene in Element 3D. Once it's there, then we'll create a null in After Effects, and then we will move the grass wherever we need to, and we will scale it up or down as we need to, because then when you create the wind, it's gonna blow the grass properly. Okay, and so that's why you need to leave it here in the center and create a null, and in After Effects we move it wherever we want. And in After Effects I moved it right here. So if I click group 3, this is where the grass is right now. Okay, it's like right in the center of our scene. And then all you have to do is go to create group null. You click on this. Once you click on this, you get a null here, just like that. And the null will be automatically connected to that 3D mesh. And from there, you simply move the 3D mesh wherever you want. So if I'm gonna go back to my scene and I unclick this, and I'll show you guys here. Here's the null, here's my grass. And I'm simply going to move it wherever it needs to go. There you go, okay? And if I want to scale it up or down, it's all right here. So let's say if I say, you know what, I want it to be 50, there it is. If I want it to be just 1, there it is, okay? And the best way to move a null in your whole entire scene is to do 2 views. Once you're in 2 views, you can see your whole entire scene better. You can look at it from the top, you can look at it from the bottom, back, right, left, front. It's the best way to move any type of 3D mesh in your scene. You gotta have 2 views. The right is your master view, and the left is the view where you can see where things are going to be moving. Okay, if you do it this way, you'll be able to move the grass exactly where it needed to be. And I knew exactly that it needed to be right here because the scene starts here, my camera is right here. Okay, now another trick on camera is you have to make sure that you're locking the camera in the proper location. All right, so this right here, this point right here is super important. All right, in your camera right here, this is the point of interest. Wherever the point of interest is, the camera will move around it. And so I made sure that my point of interest went past the grass, because if you want to do anything else, then you can also move past the grass. And so for me, I set it there. But if you go, you know what, nah, I just want it on the grass, then that's fine too. Just make sure you move your point of interest to the grass, and no matter where your camera is, it will always move forward or backwards from that point of interest. All right, moving on from there. Now that we have an understanding of how to move other 3D OBJs in our scene using a null, that's important because we are equally going to do the same thing for our ship. All right. Now that we understand that, let's move on to our camera placements. And I'm going to leave this right here, and I'm going to zoom it up so you guys can see where all the cameras are. So that's camera 1. For camera 2, it's right here. We're looking from the top, and this is all seen here. Camera 3, we're right here. We're right here, and we're looking on the bridge, but we're looking from the base. And for camera 4, we are on the side right here. Okay. and we have this view here. And camera 5, we are looking from the top and we are right there. And the last camera is this one right here. We're looking from the back, all right, into the base. And so the best way to set your cameras again is right here. Every time you have a camera, open this up, have 2 views. Set your point of interest right away. Make sure your camera is where you want it to be, and then go back to the right, click on this icon and just move the camera where you exactly want it to be. This is the fastest way of setting your cameras, all right? Don't try to guess just by doing this way. It just doesn't work right. Do it this way and then your cameras will be set properly every single time, all right? Okay, that takes care of camera placement. That also takes care of understanding the null process of bringing other OBJs and moving them in our scene properly. And the next step is simply grass movement and our ship. All right, we made it. Now this next part is simply moving the grass and have our ship move through our whole entire scene in real time, okay? And just have the cameras capture it. From there, we'll do a few tweaks here and there to make sure our scenes look better, and that's pretty much it. From here, in order to get the grass to move properly, we have to use a tool called Deform in Element 3D, okay? So usually you won't see it unless you're looking for it. And so when you open your group, there it is. It looks just like this, and you have to go to Particle Look, and then you have to go to Deform. Once you're here, for grass, leaves, or trees, I just like to use noise. You can use bend and twist, and you can play with that and see what you get, okay? But I think noise is best. Even when I use Blender, I use noise because it gives me the opportunity to have full control of what I want to do, okay? Now, the only thing that is kind of a bummer is the grass are not locked to a mesh. Because they're not locked to a mesh, we can't go too crazy on the noise or the twist or the bend, because the grass is gonna go all over the places and it absolutely looks horrible, okay? Now, in most 3D software application or Blender, which I use, you create a mesh and then you create hair. Hair comes out of the mesh, and then you can alternate the hair for another 3D mesh. And so that's where you throw your grass or your flowers and whatever you want in there. And once you create a wind or a noise effect, then everything is locked to that mesh, so it moves pretty realistically, okay? But because we can't do that in Element 3D, or if we can, guys, leave comments down below, okay? We're all here to help each other out. Let me know. But that being said, this is how I created the movement. I only use evolution and I use intensity. I think intensity from 1 to 5 is pretty much all you need for any kind of movement of leaves or grass or even trees. And more than that, it gets crazy. And the evolution should be anywhere from like 1 to 10. But hey, if you have a storm, then get crazy with it, all right? It's totally up to you. But that being said, since I already have my camera moving forward here, and we already talked about how to move cameras in our scenes, I'm quickly just gonna fly over it. And so remember, go into 2 views, make sure your camera is actually where it's at, and all you do is move the camera from the back to your interest point here, okay, and to the location that you want. It won't be perfect here because you'll see it here, it'll look horrible, but then on this side, just click this icon and then simply fix how you want it, okay? And remember to set your keyframes. When you set keyframes, the camera will remember how you wanted it to move. And that's all you have to do. All right, moving on. Once we are here, again, I set my evolution for my noise, and it looks just like this. Right here, evolution from 1 to 10, and my intensity at 3. And so when the camera is moving forward, the grass is moving, and that's perfect. And once I'm here, I have a couple of seconds where the grass is just moving, and then our ship is flying in the background. But what you're also gonna see move are the rods, all right? And so there are 2 ways you can do that. One, you manually put the rocks where you want them to be, or 2, you have to go back in Element 3D and throw the rocks into a another group, and from that group match your knoll for the grass, but make that for the rocks. Okay, I'm not gonna go into it, but hopefully that makes sense. You're doing the same process that you did for the grass, but now you're doing it for the rocks, and you're matching exactly where the grass is located here, okay, with the rocks. And if you do it that way, the rocks won't move, but they'll be exactly where they are. Or you could have just say, you know what, I'm just gonna move the grass and I'll manually move the rocks where the grass are. And you could do that too, and it's time consuming. I think this way is the best way to do it, and you can do it very quickly. All right. Okay guys, that takes care of the noise for the grass, and plus understanding how to move the rocks out and bring them back into a new knoll with a different group to make sure they're not moving with the grass. Now we're gonna move on and talk about the knoll for the ship. And so guys, it's the same concept that we talked about earlier. Okay, earlier I explained to you guys how to use a knoll to move anything in your master scene, especially if you're doing movements and you have to do it this way. I did the same exact thing for our ship here. Okay, and so if we go to 2 views, we can see exactly that the ship is right here. All right, and so I'm going to open this up, and I'm simply going to crank that up to 50 so you guys can see the ship, and there it is. All right, so once you bring the ship into Element 3D, leave it in the center in Element 3D, and then once you bring that back into After Effects, that's when you can move it wherever you want to. Okay, doing it this way, it makes the movement more precise. I've had past tutorials where I was trying to make people walk in certain places and they were doing all kinds of weird stuff, until I figured out that if you want any movements to happen properly, you leave it in the center in Element 3D and you use the node to just control it in your master scene. Okay, once you have this here, then it's very simple guys, and I'm gonna leave this like this so you guys can see it. All you have to do from your node is just create a whole bunch of keyframes that will determine exactly where the ship is going to go. And so we're gonna look at from the top here. So from here, the ship is not doing anything yet. Oh, and the shrimp is the shrimp. Awesome. The ship is gonna shrimp. It's gonna shrink a little bit. Oh my goodness, I think I'm pretty hungry right now. And then as you guys can see, it's moving, passing through, and it's right here now. And when it's passing through here, we're going through all of our different scenes, and it's moving in real time, and we're catching this in real time. Okay, and then it's moving through the bridge, and it just keeps on moving, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, once we're here, it continues to move. And so we're doing this in real time, which is really cool because we can fix everything in real time, so it looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to undo that because I want it to be at exactly where it was, which was 3. Here it's supposed to be at 1, but because we're just kind of cheating the shot, I made it at 3. So if you look here again, it's gonna look like this. The grass is, we're zooming in, the grass is moving, pretend you already fixed the rocks, and then we have our ship passing through, and then it's moving in real time, and our camera is simply catching it in real time, and it's so tiny we can't see it, but it's still moving real time. And there it is, and there is that. All right, pretty cool, right? And so guys, that's pretty much how you move anything in Element 3D. Make sure it's in a specific group, and then create a node for it, and that is it. Now the one thing I wish Element 3D had was more groups. I wish it had unlimited amount of groups, really, because there's so many things that need to be in specific locations and moving that they have to be in a group. Now within groups you also have channels, but I found that the channels, when it comes to moving, they don't work as well as coming from a node. All right, and so that's why I wish we had more groups. But that being said, you can also use the channels. So for each group you have 10 channels, so you have 5 groups, you have pretty much 50 channels, okay, that you can use. All right, that being said guys, that takes care of the grass. You guys also understand how to remove the rocks properly so they're not moving with the grass, and we also talked about the ship and how to move the ship properly. Okay, wow, we made it. That's it. The last tweaks here are very simple, guys. Once we have a whole entire scene and it was just one entire timeline and we did everything that we needed to in there, and we don't have to add any more OBJs, or we don't have to move things around anymore, then what you want to do is you want to break that long timeline into many different scenes. Okay, so it will become many different timelines, and the reason why you want to do that is so that you can have full control of each of the scenes. So an example would be when we first started, the ground here looked horrible, right? The texture looked horrible, and so I went back into the scene itself, and I went into the cliff, and what I did on the texture here, I made it 5.5 because it was just 1.3 to begin with. Okay, and 1.3 looks good for scene 2, but it looks horrible for scene 1. And so this is why you want to break things apart once you're done with the scene, so you can fix things here and there. And again, this could look better, but again, because we did not unwrap the mesh and we didn't put a texture on it properly, this is what we can do the best that we possibly can. But when you guys start to do some depth of field and your focus is just on this, everything else will blur, and as it blurs out, that's the whole entire trick here. Okay, to just make things move so fast that, and using depth of field, that, you know, people are not looking frame by frame to see if things are perfect. Because in the world of visual effects, it's not perfect, it's a trickery. That's what it is. And so once you broke every scenes down properly, then the next thing to do is simply to make sure that you click on your ambient occlusion, and it's right here. Just click on it, and also click on your shadows, enable it. You can do shadow mapping or ray traced. If your scene requires softer shadows and you're not doing any movements whatsoever, shadow mapping is perfect. But if you're doing movements, then ray trace is better, because ray trace will give you some sharp shadows that will not jig out when you have scenes movements. That being said, you guys can take care of the rest, but usually the rest comes in if you have to. Okay, but now we're just creating the scene, and that's all that we were focused on. Once you do that, make sure you do the same for all of them. Now you can do it, you could have done it for one timeline and just express it all the way out, but the reason why I like to do it individual, because each can have a different look. All right, so it's important, once you break it out, to just take your time and go through each scene and just click these and just tweak them as you see fit. The next step is to throw some lights in, and so if we go to our 2 views here and we go into top view, I just added some lights here. Now if you're a lighting expert, then you will do things differently. But if you're like me, you're just throwing some lights here to create a real world setting as best as you possibly can, or create a global light, I guess. And so this is my main light right here. It's the strongest, and these two, just these three here, create the light on the full 360. And so this one is at 800, these two at 75, and the one coming from the top is at 50%, and it's creating, to me, a global lighting system. But again, for those of you who are lighting expert, I know you guys will totally do it differently. Okay, you guys will probably start with a 3-point light system and just go from there. Now, one thing I like to add too that I didn't, but I'm gonna do right now, is add a new light and just do the ambient light. And this one, I'm gonna just take it down to 10, and it's gonna light our scene a little bit more here, just like that. And I think that looks pretty good to me right here, because once you start doing the color grading, things are gonna look darker anyways. Okay, so keep the lighting simple, and then make the color grading, the look that you want to give it. So once you have that, you simply just go through every scenes and see what they look like. And so this is our first scene right here. Whoops, we'll just put our second scene right here, and this is our third scene right here, and this is our fourth or fifth, and our last scene right here. Okay, and to me this looks pretty good. Now once you have this like this, again, it's all about tweaking it until you have the look that you want. Once you have this, then of course you have to add your sky too. The sky makes things look cooler, right? So once you have your sky, then again it makes things look pretty cool, and it makes it look as realistic as we possibly can. And from there you just want to group everything, so you just do Control A, go here, layer, pre-comp, just call that final. And once it's pre-comp, this is where you get to do the color grading. All right, so we just go down to color corrections, use Lumetri color, and just go to town. All right, and if you have to do small tweaks, you do them in here, and then the master tweaks are all done in this pre-comp right here. And then when you render things out, you render out this pre-comp too. It's faster and it's better. All right, that being said, guys, this takes care of the small tweaks. Alright guys, hopefully you guys learned something out of this tutorial here. If you are done with the scene, it should look something just like this. Okay, this is not color graded. I just put some depth of field into it, and I also went back and I did a camera lens blur, and I blurred all the OBJs to about 2, because I realized that in real life we don't really see anything sharp, and you know, even in films nothing's ever really sharp. And so when the 3D meshes are too sharp, it doesn't give you that realism as well. And so that's something that you also have to add when you're done with this whole entire scene here. But that being said, guys, I hope this was super helpful for you guys. I love Quixel, I love Megascans. Guys, click the link down below and check them out too. Okay, that being said, my name is Lobo. The channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects. If you guys dig, like and sub, click on my Patreon channel, become a patron, and let's grow the channel and let's continue to create cool stuff. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye now.